Most people aren't broke because they're lazy. They're broke because they have been conditioned into daily habits that are draining their accounts every single day. This isn't about shame at all. It's about becoming aware, creating a plan, taking actionable steps, and escaping those daily habits that are draining your account to zero. Now, come on, let's get it. All right, now let's talk about that first habit. The first one is going to be spending emotionally. So let's go ahead and see what that actually looks like. Sometimes you're buying things to feel better. So let's start with food. Have you ever heard of comfort foods, right? Let's say maybe when you're coming home and, mama or grandmother is going to make your favorite sweet potato pie, or, maybe some down home cooking, or whatever the case is that you love, something that makes you feel good. Well, you might actually be doing that yourself. Maybe you're away from home and you know what? I just remember when I used to grow up, this would always make me feel better. So I'm going to buy this, and in return, this gives me a great emotional feeling. What about Amazon? You're just randomly shopping on there, and hey, you're a Prime member, so you're going to get it within 2 days or less, right? Well, that can be emotional spending because, hey, maybe you're thinking, I worked pretty hard this week. I deserve this. That's one thing that I tell people all the time. Anytime you hear someone saying, well, hey, you deserve this, you also deserve to be wealthy. You work hard all your lives. You deserve to be wealthy, but that takes actionable steps. So just how we can fix that mentality of, hey, I deserve this shirt, or I deserve these shoes, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy this because it makes me feel rewarded for the hard work that I've done. Well, the same things can be done to go ahead and cut those poor habits and create wealth building ones. So another example of emotional spending can be to impress others. Now, I wasn't above this myself. When I was younger, I bought a vehicle solely based off the fact that I thought it looked better than everyone else's. Everyone else had maybe a Chevy Camaro or a Dodge Challenger or a Charger, and I wanted to be different. I thought that this vehicle was above those, so I decided to go that route. And honestly, it was just to impress other people. Now, I don't have that mentality now, but I'm just letting you know that I myself am not above that sometimes. It's okay to sit up here and admit that you have some of those qualities as far as, hey, you know what? I'm buying this because of the fact that, honestly, I think other people are going to like the way I look in it. But then when you look at things, you're buying them based off of other people's reaction, which now, honestly, is pretty dang stupid. So with that being said, become aware, create actionable steps, and get out of that, okay? So all I'm letting you know is, hey, if you like something, then buy it. That's fine, as long as you have your budget in place to where that is in your fund account, right? Yeah, that's the one that you get to go ahead and blow money on. You set money aside for that. You do your own business. But what I'm letting you know is if you are buying this solely because you're worried about who is going to impress at the event, at the lounge, at the park, at the family get together, whatever the case is, then you're buying these things for the wrong reason. We got to cut that out. And lastly, another example of emotional spending can be avoiding stress. So a lot of people, when they get stressed out, they actually go shopping. Now, I didn't believe this when I heard this, but it's actually true. When I got to ask some family members and things like that, a couple of them did say, yes, they will go and they'll just shop to make themselves feel better and reduce some stress. At the end of the day, this is still poor decision making, right? We have to find better ways to cope with stress. Now, there are different avenues out here, right? Different resources for you to be able to cope with stress, right? Now, I'm going to tell you, hey, what makes you feel good? Potentially that's free, right? I know for me, maybe going on a run. Go run for 20 to 30 minutes. Play basketball, lift weights, read a book. There are things that can help out with the amount of stress that you're dealing with. Maybe it can't take it away, but what I'm saying is if you're looking for a temporary relief, well then these are some things that also can be healthy for you, right? Now, also too, don't be afraid to talk to someone, whether it's close friends, whether it's family. They even have resources online through telehealth and things like that. Either way, there are resources for you to be able to reduce your stress. So that way we can still, build healthy habits, not spending habits, right? And so this emotional spending is going to ultimately put a damper in your path to wealth. Please understand this because that's what we're all on this for. I'm trying to teach you all to go ahead and build long-term wealth. This isn't some get rich quick scheme, but these are actionable habits that when you put them together with other habits, they will go ahead and help you. Now, to give you an example of just this whole scenario, we can put all these together. Let's say you had a rough day and you decide on your way home, you're gonna stop and you're gonna get takeout, right? Whatever it is that makes you feel good in that moment. Okay, let's say you got on Amazon and you bought something real quick and you're like, hey, you know what? I've been needing this anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and just buy this. And then lastly, you decide, I'm scrolling on TikTok. I'm gonna buy something off a TikTok shop. This looks good. I deserve this. It's cheap. But all of this is really just debt in disguise. You're building those habits to where, like say, when emotions are involved, you're going and you're making impulse decisions. It's not a winning situation. Now, here's some ways that you can truly break these habits. I want you to start off with adding a 24-hour rule. So anything that's over $25, I want you to actually think about it for a full 24 hours. Do you really need this? I want you to ask yourself a question. Will this help my future, or is this just helping my feelings? Because those are two important things that you need to point out and understand the difference between. Also, you can go ahead and keep track of your spending with free apps, okay? You can look through the App Store, the Apple App Store, the Google App Store. There are free apps that will help you keep track of things that you are doing, okay? Take advantage of that. You have to remember this one key thing. Emotions and feelings are temporary. Debt, well, that can be permanent depending on how high you go. We have to make conscious decisions, okay? Let's move smarter. All right, so habit number 2 is going to be ignoring your gap. Now, what is the gap? The gap is the most important number in your finances, if we're being honest, right? The gap is total income minus total expenses, and you're left with your gap number, right? Now, this gap number is important because this is what you use to save, pay off debt, and invest. And if you don't have a gap number, then we can't even get started. Now, most people, they don't track anything. And when I say anything, I mean their expenses. They have no idea what's going in or out, okay? So because of the fact that they don't know what's going in or out, whenever they get handed money, they're just spending it. And even if they get raises or even do side income sometimes, they still inflate their expenses. So ultimately, when you're getting more income and you're inflating your expenses, then your gap number is still either small, zero, or sometimes negative. Now, some things you can do to fix this. I think the first one is pretty obvious here. Start tracking your actual finances. We need to track what's coming in, what's coming out, and see what your actual gap number is. That'll let you know how you can move smarter with your money. Next, have a weekly check-in with your finances. I'm not sitting up here telling you have to do every single day, but every week you should be looking and seeing, okay, hey, how am I doing? My goal is to have this amount of money at the end of the week so I can have this amount of money at the end of the month. Am I on track for that, or do I need to make some changes? Maybe I need to cut back a subscription, or maybe I need to cut back a certain membership, or maybe I need to cut back on the amount that I'm stopping and getting food on the way home instead of meal prepping. There are things that you can do for this. And first, you have to be aware of what is going on before you actually take the steps. And lastly, I'm going to tell you that you want to protect, grow, and nurture that gap number. Pretend it's like your life depends on it. Because if we're being honest, your freedom depends on that number. If you don't have a gap number, then you can't save, which means you can't invest and ultimately pay off debt and things of that nature. You have to have a net positive so that you can put that money to work for you. A lot of people get things confused. You're not building wealth with your income. You're building wealth with your gap number, right? Your income, yes, you're going to use that to pay bills and you're going to use that to take care of things that you need, so your expenses, but you don't want to have too many expenses. The lower your expenses, the bigger your gap number. And the bigger your gap number means the more that you can save and the more that you can invest, which means the more wealth you'll build over time and the quicker. So now we have habit number 3, and that's delaying investing. See, a lot of people wait to start investing until they have more money. See, the truth of the matter is, you don't get rich and then you start investing. You start investing to stop being broke, okay? By the time you're rich, You already have the daily habits, the monthly habits, the mindset, everything it is that you need to continue to stay rich, because that's a whole separate discussion. This may look like waiting for the perfect time. When you talk to people, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get started investing, once I go ahead and do this, and I'm gonna just go ahead and dive right in. But in reality, even starting small can help you out tremendously, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. Time is the biggest factor over all of this. $25 a week. I know it may not sound like anything, but I promise you, $25 a week adds up. You're investing, you're building wealth, and you're right. When you start to get in a better position where you can make it more than $25 a week. When you start to get a raise on your job, you can contribute more to your 401k. You can do a lot more things, but the point is to still get started, right? So investing that $25 a week into your Roth IRA first, because we always want to max that out, that matters. Investing, even if it's 1%, and you're trying to work your way up to where your job matches up to 4% or 5%, right? You can work your way up to it, but the point is you want to get started investing. Now, some ways to fix this are literally like what I just said. Even if it's not $25, let's say it's $5 a week, you will start to build the habit and the mindset. You start to see that money grow, and you start to think about, okay, hey, whoa, this 10% of this $10, well, I mean, shoot, that's $1, but man, 10% of $100, that's $10. 10% of $1,000 is $100, and 10% of $10,000 is $1,000. It starts to grow as you're adding to it. So when you're seeing these small incremental gains, they still add up. And remember, it's compound interest. So the money that you gain interest on, you can earn interest off of that interest. So like I say, this is one of the most powerful wealth building tools, but you have to get started doing so. Now, another way to fix this is by auto investing, okay? Now, we have Fidelity, Acorns, Robinhood. There are plenty of apps that you can download and go ahead and set this up. But pretty much what this is kind of like an out of sight, out of mind thing, okay? You're not worried about it if you don't see it. So use that in a good way, right? If you're going ahead and taking out $5 every week, straight out of your check, you never saw it. You never had it in your hand, so you're not feeling like you're missing it. And you might notice it maybe the first 2-3 weeks, but after that, it just becomes a habit, right? And then you can incrementally increase that more, right? The point is that you're developing a habit, getting used to a certain lifestyle based off of this money, right? Because the money that's coming in, we shouldn't be using 100% of that to live. We shouldn't be. Right? And if we are, then we need to go ahead and use the extra time that we have, maybe to get a second job, maybe to go ahead and work on some type of side hustle. Maybe we have a skill that we can go ahead and market out, maybe, on Fiverr or whatever the case is. But the point is, we need to be making sure that we're making the habits to go towards wealth. So the last thing here is just making it simple. So when you are investing, instead of stressing out about what individual company to invest in, I'd say, hey, look at ETFs. Now, you've all heard the quote, never put all your eggs in one basket. So in this basket, in the ETF, you have tons of stocks. Sometimes they're divided into different sectors. Sometimes it can be the whole market. Like say you want, the whole market. Well, you go towards VTI. That's the Vanguard Total Index. That's pretty much over 4,000, different companies in one basket there. Well, what if you went towards something like, the S&P 500, right? That would be the largest 500 companies in the United States. Maybe you go towards QQQ. That's, a specific sector about like tech and innovation, things of that nature, right? So, it's pretty tech heavy. There's plenty of sectors and there's a ETF for each one. There's an ETF for you. You want fashion, you want communication, you want quantitative computing, you want anything, is there for you, okay? And it can make it simple. So look at that. Keep it simple, and once it's invested, and don't worry about it. Like check in, every week, check in on it every month, cool, whatever. But know that you're investing this, and this is for long-term wealth. As long as you have that understood, hey, the habits are gonna form. You're gonna get there because you're gonna start wanting to invest more as you're seeing it build. You're gonna want to throw more money in there. Now, if you want to stop being broke, then you have to break the cycle. That's the number one step. You become aware and we break the cycle. So remember, it's these 3 habits that are contributing to you being poor. It's the emotional spending. It's not even knowing your gap number, okay? You're ignoring it. And then lastly, it's delaying investing. If you're doing these 3s, like I say, 1 is already bad enough. If you add all 3 together, that's a recipe for you to be poor and broke forever, okay? That's it. It's about financial freedom. I'm not sitting up here telling you, hey, I'm trying to get you rich to go buy Lamborghinis and all these fancy houses and things like that. It's about financial freedom. It's about freedom. It's about owning your time, okay? You want to go ahead and be happy with life. Wake up and not be stressed about bills or anything. It takes actionable steps. Now, I'm making videos like these every single week, okay? Budgeting, investing, mindset, all of that together, all right? So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, comment down below. Let me know, hey, are you past all of these 3 habits? Are you still working on a couple? Just let me know. We can talk about it in the comments, okay? Now, until next time, I'm Marcus, your host here on Zero to Wealth, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.